Let us be able to say something to be able to impact your people, Father. Take all of us out and add all of you in, Father. Let us be able to help somebody, help save somebody right before Christmas. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Hey. Let's get the intro going. Let's get the intro going and tag and share, tag and share, tag and share, tag and tag and share. Let's load up. Let's load up. 1, 2, 1, 2. Load on up. Let's load up. Tag and share. Tag and share. Tag and share. Tag and share. Load up. Let's load up. Load up one time. Tag and share. Tag and share. Man, we're gonna get ready to get this program in. Another episode of the Truth Be Told. I thank you Lord for having my buddy Hub here with me once again. December 21st, we get in, man. I really appreciate it. 2022. We'll be in the studio. Man, I almost been
Yes, sir. Yes,
man,
sir.
it's all in there, man. Once I get behind this, something happens. Magic happens. But let's put this on a little bit of life right there, a little bit of life. We're gonna talk a lot about life.
Jangling.
Yeah. So, what's going on, man? Thank you for being in the studio. Thanks for pausing your day. I know you've been busy.
Oof.
It's about Christmas time, man, and I know that you've been busy with your store. Tell us a little bit about it's December 21st, man.
It's basketball season, so it's the most busiest time of the year for me.
Okay.
Take 4 solid months and just pour into about 40 kids.
Okay.
And so this is the most busiest time, and this is the first year I had to juggle pastoring, and my mom keeps reminding me that that's my first line of business. So it's been really, really busy, but it's all ministry. And so I woke up this morning, and in my spirit was, let every heart prepare him room. Joy to the world. Let every heart prepare him room.
Wow.
And so it's a lot going on. I don't know why that was in my spirit, but it's been in my spirit all day. I can't sing, but joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King.
Well, you better leave that up to Mariah Carey. Leave that up to Mariah Carey for Mariah Carey special that was on television on last night, man. I thank the Lord for you pausing your day being in the studio, man. Just a few house cleaning things. We've had a lot going on, a lot of positive stuff going on.
Yeah.
I know we've been up here with our stock market investment club group, and we got a lot. We've been doing helping a lot of young folks. We encourage a lot more young people to be able to come to our class 5 to 7, Fridays and Saturdays, from 5 to 7, man. And we've been able to help folks. We got some books, How Money Work books that we've been introducing the young folks to explain to them how money works. And so we're starting right there, working with age groups. I think our youngest is about 10 years old.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oldest is probably about 18. And so I didn't want to leave anybody out. I know we had some parameters that we were working with, but we tried to extend those parameters because I didn't want to leave we in the military, don't leave nobody behind.
Never leave a fallen comrade behind.
No.
Actually, when I came in here, I was on speaker with a kid that he's 19, and I had him since the 11th grade. And he didn't go to college. He just graduated. He didn't go to college in August. And we was having a conversation about him leaving in January. And his number one thing that he talked about, Sean, was exposure. He was my first 6th grade class Leadership Development Academy at J.W. Ader, track guy. He got 2 sports scholarships and 2 grade scholarships. So hopefully he'll be out of here in January. But what made me think of that is exposure. The kids need to see something.
You know, man, Hub, that's a whole nother thing right there, man. And I in a way with the information, and I understand the information as being a 53-year-old man now, been in business for myself for probably almost 25, 30 years, and not having any of this knowledge, not having any mentors that even knew this information, not having anybody to give me any type of advanced knowledge of how to scale a business or how to even make the next day work.
But here's the thing, Sean. Thank God for the military, because the military, you serving those 6 years in the military, being in Germany, being in special operations, we know how to figure it out.
Yeah.
We gonna figure it out. I figured out a way to get back to Iraq.
Yeah.
With all them bombs and all that death, I figured a way to get back. And you've been able to figure it out, and not just figure it out, but figure it out to where you your own boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, even though you didn't, you weren't born on third base, you figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, and I do want to say this. Shout out to JWA, their leadership development class, and some of the Rantoul High School basketball players, and special shout out to Todd Wilson, the principal of Rantoul High School. I begged people for 3 weeks to be a center. Everybody had excuse. And I was crying to my dad about it. Dad, man, I've been, and finally Mr. Wilson and my dad said it was meant for them to say no.
Right.
Because the way he did it, it was gladness. He did it with joy. It wasn't a chore, it was natural. And to see them kids get pictures sitting in his lap and on the side of him, man, them people coming there getting them presents. We gave out about $4,000 worth of presents, man. And man, do you need this? Do you need this? No. Well, what if somebody come in there and they already got stuff? Man, I ain't got time to worry about that. If they come on down, we gonna get to them. Whoever come, that's whosoever will. And it was really, really a blessing, man. And then the other part of exposure is teaching the kids to give. We had some high school and some middle schools serving, right? And that's what this guy talked about on the way up here. He's 19 now. But we gave him a picture of what serving looked like. We used to, Ots, the former owner of Ots, we used to go there because they weren't open in the afternoon. So shout out to the owner. I can't remember his name right now, but he would open in the afternoon, in the evening for us, and then give us 20% of the ticket plus tips. But the kids, not only was a fundraiser, but it taught them how to serve.
Right.
And so you the financial literacy, they ain't gonna never forget that. Never.
Oh,
never.
No.
I'm gonna say this because you got me in the zone, but I'm gonna say this: you can teach what you know, but you reproduce who you are. I can tell the kids all don't do this and don't do that, but if they see me doing it, monkey see, monkey do.
We brought the kids in here, and one of our first questions to the young kids is, ask the babies. You want to know about gun violence? Ask the babies. So my 10-year-old, we say, why do we got gun violence? Why we got gun violence? And her first response back, because they want to try to fit in. And that was a 10-year-old line.
Yeah.
They want to fit in. And so those are the young folks that I want to tap into.
Yeah.
The young folks that's out there, the parents that's out there, that's searching, that want their child around a good, wholesome environment, around somebody that's going to pour into them, somebody that's going to love on them, like your program. And there's many other programs.
Yeah, there's some good programs.
There's some good programs out
there. It's a couple of female programs that I'm really impressed with. The Dream, and then this Stephanie young lady. I really don't know her, but her name is Stephanie. I know that because my wife's name is Stephanie. But man, we got some good programs, really, really good programs.
I just want us, I was talking to the Councilman Will earlier, because we was doing some training, and I was telling them earlier, it's just this next year, going into 2023.
Teamwork make the dream work.
It's time for us to start working together. And so going into 2023, let's put all egos aside. Let's put all the programs aside, because it's about the development of our young people. Because right now, the way I see it, I'm talking about the way I see it, the views and opinions of Sean Williams, the way I see it is we so far behind the 8 ball, don't put it into a language and a way that you can understand it. It's the fourth quarter. It's and we got 30 seconds left, and we down by 20. That's how we are in life right now in the African American community across this nation. It's crunch time, man. Now it's our ball. What we gonna do with it?
Ain't no 20-pointer.
What we gonna do with it? You know what I'm saying? And it's crunch time. And so it's time to if you're willing to see your kids be in to get put into a better position, because we already know school district ain't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We already know that community ain't doing it. We
Mhm.
already know, we just seen some stuff that happened, that church ain't just the answer.
Mhm.
We already know that we need more.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
so if you want your kids to be on the fast track, you want to be in a better position, attach them with a little something extra, and it might take a little bit of more discipline within the parents, and more concern. General concern is when we talk about Miller. General concern, you know, and discipline upon you to say, hey, look, and find value, because you got to find value. You make time for what you find value in. And so if you find value in your young ones, you find value in trying to see their future, and them to not have to start where you started from. Because if your kids got to start from where you started from,
yeah, there's no success without a successor. And so one of my
fill in the blank.
So one of my kids goes to Rantoul High School. His name is Cam. He's a senior. He got about 6 or 7 scholarships in football, but he took his own money as a senior and got one of the special needs Christmas gifts, man. And bro, when I saw that on Facebook, man, I'm like, man, those are my successors.
Yeah.
You know, everybody ain't gonna get it.
Yeah.
But you don't need everybody to get it. But you if you leading and ain't nobody following, you just taking a walk.
Yeah, yeah, man.
And so here's a kid, 17, 18 years old, and he's already giving back.
Man, you know, our first night we had 6 kids. Our second night we had 15 kids. The next following week, those kids were supposed to come back, but I think Central had a game and Centennial had a game. That Friday night, we had 2 diligent kids that came back. So we talked to those kids like it was a room full.
Right.
The next day, we had probably about 10 that came.
Here's the key, Sean, and I, you know, I've been doing that on my watch for a long time. I was doing stuff in the park before I ever had my not-for-profit and all that. But the thing that I've always tried to be is consistent. And so just be consistent. Motel 6 that made a whole lot of money leaving the light on.
Leave the light on.
And so just be consistent. People are going to say this, people are going to say that. But when you study, hang around. I mean, I moved around too. I'll never forget Otis Note was like, man, people call, ask him, oh, who is this Herbert Burnett guy? What's his motive? You know what I'm saying? My motive is kids, right? Now here it is. I've been there about 8 or 10, and I'm starting to build some relationships. But, you know, it's a small town. Who is this guy? What is he on? So many have came in there without pure motives. You know, it's a startup. Teachers come there to get their start and then they leave, you know. But one of the things that God had me do, because the kids said, oh, man, you don't really care about us. You live in Champaign. And on the way home that day, I was working at Ada at the time. The Lord said, you got to move there to show them that you really care, you know. And so the kids that I moved there for, they were 8th and 9th grade. They just graduated. But now, you know, through basketball, shout out to my head coach, Brian Parker, interviewed me in Popeye's parking lot, right? Then it's a whole set of kids that I'm working with. And the 19-year-old that I came in there, he was telling me they don't understand because they just looking at basketball. They weren't a part of your LDA program. So I would say, man, just keep being consistent, man. And it's going to work out because you freeing slaves.
Man.
You know, and they said Harriet Tubman would have freed some more slaves if they would have realized they were slaves. And, you know, so with that financial literacy, man, financial freedom, I mean, it allows you, it ain't about being rich for me, but it's about being able to move. When my mama called me and tell me she needs to go to St. Louis to the doctor, I can write myself up and give myself a no call, no show.
Yeah.
It's freedom. Yeah. And for those 10-year-old learning that, come on, man.
You know, one of the most powerful things that you did, you know, because it's all about a living example to me, you know what I'm saying? People talk a good game, but just doing it. And empowering James Kinney. Yeah. Once you got to church. Yeah. For when a pastor, I'm gonna keep it 100. I said it, you didn't. When a pastor in this town denied him from being able to use his gift, right? And blossom a young man. So just in case you have a slip and fall, you got a replacement.
Right. There's no success without
See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But because you don't want to share, you don't want to mentor, you don't want to teach, you know, and that's what real leaders do, you know, is teach. You know, you didn't want to do that. So you shut him down and really hurt his feelings. But I thank God that when now your dad passed you the torch, you get the chance to have ownership of your church. You lend him the pulpit for it. Had it packed in there. I came. James was excited about doing it. I thank God he let the Lord use him that day.
Amazing. He was amazing.
He had a bunch of notes, and he threw them to the side and really let God working with his testimony. And you know,
affected a lot of people.
And, and the Bible says you overcome by your testimony. And so so he definitely did that day, man. Big shouts out to you, JK. You did a great job.
Magnificent guy. And here, let me elaborate on that a little bit. So my whole military career, I've been in my first church that I really saw the light in outside of Champaign-Urbana is called Christian House of Prayer. They got 30,000 members now. I saw them go from 300. Where I was there, they went from about 300 to 1,500. I was at Destiny Family Christian Center in El Paso my last 10 years. I saw that church go from about 600 to 1,500. And so when God told me to come back here, I'm like, really? And so I tell my members now, we small, but we're going to grow. It's no doubt in my mind. I got to have leaders because I'm never going to be there. One of the things we're going to do is train ministers out and dispatch them out. A true apostle sets up churches everywhere. That's what a true apostle, they say, oh, I don't get into that. I know what my calling is. And so I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to do this, but you got to send me some help because I know leadership, right? You got to use a net or a network. You can't use no fishing pole. And so James, when he sent James, it was just a lot of blessed assurance. You know what I'm saying? That, okay, you're going to hold up your end of the bargain.
Right.
So I got to let him blossom. He's worked with kids. He was a head coach at St. Thomas. They have businesses. You need good pictures. Unfortunately, right now, all the pictures is the rappers and the dope boys and all that. And so I'm saying, God, send me some pictures.
Yeah.
So the folks will have something to look at, something to follow.
One of the things about it for me, Hub, during that transition of what just happened with, through Pastor Johnson, Mount Calvary Church, Jericho. My sister said, she said, well, you weren't thinking like that a couple of years ago. And I said, sis, some amazing stuff happened to me through COVID. This funeral home industry that I'm into, COVID, it kind of changed my life a whole lot. I can't know, it did. The picture. I could see a full picture. I could see, I could really feel and see the discernment of what it's supposed to look like.
Discernment is huge.
You know what I'm saying? I could really feel it. I could see it. I could smell it. I could really see what it is now. That's something I didn't know before COVID, because God has to set us down for a second and let us come to ourselves, because we get so caught up on us that we ain't getting no information. And I see that when I look at ministry and I look at the traditional way we've looked at ministry, views and opinions of Sean Williams, the folks before us, the generations before us looked at it wrong. What you did and what I heard that young man just say, you can't get that at church. What that young man just said.
On the speaker.
You can't get that at church. He said, man, you might not know this. And I don't know if I never told you this, man. But man, I really look up to you for the things that you told me. You see what I'm saying? See, we everything got to be decent and in order. See, we got so much trauma, compound generational traumas, that it ain't gonna be decent and order. It don't look good what we got going on. When you start peeling the onion back and you start seeing what a family been going through and the things that's been happening, it don't look good.
But we on the construction site don't look good. But when the building is built, it's beautiful. But the construction, you got plaster, you got concrete, you got saws, it's noisy. Folks got on. It don't look. It's not pretty. We under construction.
Well, see, but we've been under construction and we ain't knew we was under construction.
Right. Well, we
because most of us in those arenas act like we got it right.
Here's the thing that we talked about before we went on air: motives. When I moved here, God had to tell me, look, you're gonna have to deal with some of them people because you don't know who I'm gonna use to bless, right? So I had to make a lot of apologize because I got discernment. I see you ain't on nothing. So in my flesh, man, I ain't fooling with you. You ain't on nothing. You don't really care about kids. But God had to touch my heart and say, look, man, let the wheat and the tare grow together and I'll separate it. God can use the devil's oven to bake his bread. And so I had to pump my brakes, humble myself. And let me tell you this, you said something earlier, and you said you was into yourself and before COVID, can COVID humble you? But it's easy to be into yourself because America is the only country that play the World Series by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They say
and don't even got the world involved.
Hey, let me tell you something. They say the Golden. If I talk to Mike McCray right now, he gonna remind me that the Golden State Warriors is the world champs. But how they the world champs and they didn't play Zimbabwe, they ain't played Japan, they ain't played Australia. How they the world champs? We legends in our own mind.
Mm-hmm. And we paint that picture.
We keep hiring different chefs and the oven broke.
Hub, I was on the radio program and it's some guys that come in after me. Some guys come in after me.
Yeah.
So I'm listening as I was riding and I called down there and I called and I asked the question. I said, why is it that when in our religious realm that you can't be used till you get right? But when you pick up your Bible, or you read stories or you listen to stories about the Bible, all the people that God used and Jesus used did have it together. He showed an example. He turned Paul into Saul. Moses. He used Moses even though he had a speech impediment. He used Noah even though he was a drunkard. And showed them out to be amazing people.
What was the reply?
They got down on me because of the fact that they saying that because of the fact that they're saying that in order to hold positions and those type
leadership,
in order to hold those positions, in order to come into the flock. But what this is one of the things we learned in the Army, right?
On the job training.
You already know where I'm going. Man. You already know where I'm going because you have a
action jack.
You have a go. You have a lieutenant.
Okay.
You have a lieutenant just fresh out of school.
That's right.
Straight. He didn't read every model that a soldier's supposed to do and everything that the motor pool's supposed to be doing, the cook's supposed to be doing, the combat engineer's supposed to be doing. He didn't read it in a book. He didn't been somewhere, West Point, wherever it was. Come down there trying to he the boss. He trying to lay the law down on you. You've been doing this shit for 15 years. You ain't got no degree.
I set them up for failure. If they didn't respect me as a sergeant first class, they'd be out of there in 6 months.
But see, but
and I tell them, this is what I tell them, look, if you listen to me, you'll be captain in 3 to 5 years. If you don't, you're gonna be gone in 6 months. Most of them listen. Okay. I had one that challenged me, he was gone in 3 months.
But what it goes back is, what I've learned through this community work is called learned experience, right?
I keep telling you, go to Eastern and you got a degree already.
Learned experience. And sometimes it's called boss sense, what you told me.
Yes, sir.
It's called boss sense.
Yes, sir.
You made a mistake. A roller said you got a big cocoa on your head. And then you got another cocoa on your head. That's learned experience. See, you ain't go over to the U of I and pay $200,000 for it. And you walk in just squeaky clean, then start directing traffic. So that's what I was trying to, that's the example that I was trying to use, because sometimes you got to go in there and you got to really, because those kids that you going to connect, those older people, those heroin addicts, you cannot, see, a lot of times we don't want to be around them folks because we looking at them as unclean. I want to be around them people, but them the people that need you. And I like your analogy where you said that you want to try to look out for your ministry and deal with your ministry, because a lot of times people trying to regurgitate other members.
Right.
I like the way you said it. I don't want nobody members. I want the people that ain't going
to church.
Because it's a ton of people
that ain't going.
It's a ton.
And I'm gonna tell you this: it's a ton of people that ain't going and love the Lord. They just tired of foolishness.
They got church hurt.
I need some of them on staff.
There you go.
But the guys coming in off of heroin, no, you can't be no deacon yet. Right. Shout out to Jaime Ho.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna tell his business, but shout out to Jaime Ho.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but I do want to I do want to help you in your play. And I do agree with them leadership. I agree with what they said about leadership. You know, you gotta have your staff got to be right because they the example. Right. Not perfect, but they got to be, you know what I'm saying? But in Romans, to back you up, Romans, if you read Romans, the first chapter of Romans, it said Paul called to be an apostle. The next book is First Corinthians. If you read the beginning of that, it said Paul called to be the apostle. But good God Almighty, when you get to Second Corinthians, it say Paul the apostle. It's so a process,
and it's about speaking.
Yes, sir. It's a process. They said, "Why you call James Kinney a pastor?" I said, "Because if you think everybody gonna talk to me, your mind too small. We gonna have 5, 6, 7,000. I want to talk to the pastor. You just gonna talk to the pastor. We got about 30 of them. We breaking them down by alphabet. What's your last name? Oh, you C? Okay, you go see him. You F, you go see him. Matter of fact, 10 deacons. Let me stop, man. Let me stop.
Man,
I feel my help coming on.
Hey, I can feel it over here. I can feel it over here, man. Hey, man.
Come on, we got to use a net or a network. The days of using a fishing pole is over, Sean. We got too much work to do, man. The wilderness is crying out for a voice. They acting up. They doing this, they doing that, but they crying out. All these kids are crying out.
Adults too. Seniors too.
They crying out.
Seniors too.
I agree.
I mean, because we've been stuck, man.
We've been stuck.
I mean, the way
I don't believe God gonna leave us.
The way man, we was just down there in the barbershop area talking about it, man, and you know, we're in such a bad place, man, and we've been stuck for so long. And every time somebody come up with something, and they'll bring up something about what Malcolm X did or Martin Luther King did. That was the 60s. Had we been that complacent? Had we been that sleep at the wheel? That ain't nothing happened in the last 60 years? We don't talk about no other leaders. That ain't nothing happened in 60 years. And we still behind 8 ball. We at the top of this statistic, the bottom of that statistic. One shoe on, one shoe off. And we still, you know, and it frustrates me, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that we all should be saying, what must I do to be saved? You know, and not just to say what must I do to be saved, but what must I do to get some help? Right. You see what I'm saying? From us looking in the mirror and saying, hey, man, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me. I need the help. I can't read that right. I can't count that good. Right. You know? So I was, in my series, I had just preached the first portion of my series right before the DJ Twigs. Did you know him? I've seen him. We're gonna talk about it here. We're leading up into it. Okay, well, I didn't know him at all from what you say from a can of paint. I didn't know him right into it. And so, but he right after my first series, which was the scripture, Ephesians 6, put on the whole armor of God. So he died, and I put a post on there, N-O Jesus, N-O peace, K-N-O-W peace, and man, it was a big discussion. People on both sides. And so I just want to touch this, and then you can run. If you don't address the cause, you can't get to the cure. The enemy doesn't want you to know that it emanates from the spirit realm, because then you might address it. As long as Satan can get you dealing with the fruit instead of the root, he can keep you hostage. So going into that, I think a lot of us are trying to deal in the physical when we're getting beat in the spirit. And when we talk about mental health, that's where you're headed. I don't want to make light of mental health, but I don't know nobody who ain't got no mental health and going through something mentally. One of the things, and I don't want to get too deep, but one of the things that I've been talking about in my pulpit, I was stationed at Fort Hood when I went to the first war. I was stationed at Fort Bliss when I went to the second war in 2004. The war won at Fort Bliss.
The battlefield wasn't at Fort Bliss. That was home.
Mhm.
That was my home base. I had to go all the way to Iraq and Saudi Arabia because that's where the battleground is. The war between our flesh and spirit is right here. This is the battleground. And as long as Satan can control this, he got you.
Well, you know, and that's the total struggle. And I guess that's the plea for me, because I understand that, you know, people look at you and they say, oh, you own your own, you doing this here. But that's a mental battle. Being your own boss is a mental battle every day. Every day, man. All day long. They look at the outside of it, but I'm looking at the stress inside. You see what I'm saying?
Because you your own structure.
Yeah. So I gotta be able to, when something need to be repaired within me mentally, I gotta fix it. You know, and so it's those things, you know, but everybody's going through something, man. And I'm just trying to be part of the say, hey man, look, if you need a little help, your boy over here.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so we'll get into this. So you mentioned this guy named Twitch. He committed suicide. And so I pulled an article for us to get into this dialogue, because we got about 30 minutes left, man. Funny how time flies when you're having fun. So the widow of Stephen Twitch Balls took to social media Wednesday to express her grief following the death last week of her late husband at the age of 40. The DJ, dancer, and producer died by suicide December 13th in Los Angeles. Allison Hoker posted a selfie with Boss with the caption, "My one and only. Oh, how my heart aches. We miss you so much." It says the post received thousands of supportive comments, including from the comedian Ellen DeGeneres, who commented, "There is so much love coming to you. I hope you can feel it." Boss appeared on 5 seasons of So You Think You Can Dance and 1 season of Dancing with the Stars. He was also the resident DJ on Ellen DeGeneres' show, which he joined in 2014. And he was named co-host and co-executive producer of her show.
Wow.
And so, I mean, you know, he was at a level, I think what I'm hearing, it could be innuendo. I read a lot. I'm starting to read a lot, so I read a lot. I've heard that he invested a lot of his fortune into, and I just seen something that broadcasted from this guy from Friedman that was a part of, that owned FTX. It was a trading platform for cryptocurrency, and lost hundreds of billions of dollars of people's money. You know, and that's the thing right there, Hub. You know, not knowing the information for yourself, because somebody else can tell you anything when you don't know it. When you don't do your own due diligence, you leave your people out there dirtball bad because you think the school's supposed to do it. You think the church's supposed to do it. You're supposed to think about the city council's supposed to do it. You think everybody's supposed to do it, but you're not doing your own due diligence.
And what's crazy is when I posted that, a lot of people jumped on me. Right? Like, you're being, but they didn't know. I just left Tony Evans' conference, pastor's conference, where the gentleman came up there and said, churches got to quit burying their head in the sand when it comes to mental health, because you're not doing due diligence.
Man.
Name it and claim it. Praying it's deeper than that. You got to get them some help. You got to have some class. I just left there, right? But you taught me something about how the U of I come and use.
Oh, they study us.
They study us for guinea pigs, and then they write dissertations and write. So now I done took that to Facebook. Let me see here, and let me see. Now as we went on, then I start opening up. Now I ain't on nobody's side. I just want to see what y'all strategic. Right, they at my mercy and don't even know it. They don't know. They think I'm hubbing down my court.
Yeah, you being a scientist.
They think I'm hubbing down my court.
You been scientific.
They don't know I've been trained by the best all over the world.
You been scientific.
And so with that, Sean, this mental health situation is huge,
and it's huge on me. It's huge on me, and I'm not just saying African American men. It's huge on me. You know, because the devil got a dead aim on the men, the family. The family. I'm not
It's
just
amazing. Go ahead.
The devil got a dead aim on the family.
Yeah.
Suicide is the 12th leading cause of death in the United States. In 2020, 45,979 people, Americans, died by suicide. In 2020, there was an estimate 1.20 million suicide attempts to kill yourself. The age-adjusted suicide rate in 2020 was 13.48 per 1,000 people. So almost 14 people per 1,000 people committed suicide. The rate suicide highest is middle-aged white men. In 2020, men died by suicide 4 times more than women. On the average, there are 130 suicides per day. Let me say that again. On average, there are 130 suicides per day. White males count for 69.68% of suicide deaths in 2020. In 2020, firearm accounted for 52.83% of all suicide deaths.
And so, as we go back to the military, this season right here, suicides jumped up.
Oh man,
being away from home, maybe even being in another country, it's just a lot around the holidays.
So
So
what you're doing is you balance me out to be able to move forward, right? So I know my sister them, they hate when I bring this up. They hate when I bring this up. And we mentioned it Sunday on the radio. And I really didn't get no pushback from them because of the way I delivered it. And hopefully I can deliver it the same way. But today, December the 21st, 1975, right here in Champaign, I was 6 years old. I'll keep it 100. I'll tell you a little bit more in depth. Butterball, Milton Norwood's dad, he played Santa Claus over at the Douglas Center Annex. So my mom got out of church over there with Reverend Burks.
Okay,
Reverend Burks.
Okay.
Reverend Burks had a little church over there by King School over there back in the cut over there. And so we got up out of that. And
Arthur Burks, baby.
Her and Mother Hattie was really, really, really good friends, still really good friends. And so they took us over to, my mom took us over to the annex, and Butterball was throwing those gifts off to the kids and throwing the kids, and he had the fire truck lit all up, and he was up on the ladder and he's throwing it down. So afterwards, we had a pool table downstairs. And so my brother Joe, we got home. Mom said she going to afternoon service. Mother Hattie came and got her, and then he gets dressed. He was the first one to get down there because you got first downs on the pool table.
Yeah.
I got brothers and sisters. My oldest sister upstairs. My brother come back upstairs and say, "Hey man, James downstairs with a rope around his neck." We all run down there. We see it. We run next door to get some aid and assistance. It's over with. He's 19 years old, man. And so I'm telling you from firsthand trauma. So we never talked about it. My oldest sister came down from Rantoul, her and her husband that was at Chinook, came down, rescued us, took us to a movie, tried to get it out of our mind, get that picture, because you talk about that picture. To get that picture out of our mind. All I still, right now to this day, and that was, I talked to Councilman Cowles about it today. That was 47 years ago, and I could see that purple corners comforter around that corners gurney, and I could still see those purple Converse hanging from under there, because that's what he used to wear, Converse. All the guys wore Chuck Taylors back in the day, baby. And so in my mind, I'm still saying, man, why he had to do that? But it's December 21st. It's cold outside. We in Illinois. It's snowing. His car broke down. His girlfriend left him. All kinds of. We impoverished. It's Christmas time. You don't got no money for gifts because the devil put on you. You ain't got no money for gifts. Make you feel less than. See, I'm gonna give you the picture. And that's where the devil started attacking us. He going to Parkland and trying to be a lawyer. He at the OIC building painting. We're involved because we got stuff going on, but life's precious. Just start closing in on you. See, that's DJ Twitch. What I got to start all over. My money gone. My family. I can't do private school. We got to now do public. This girl might be on his behind because they don't do that. She didn't come in a relationship to do private. She came in a relationship when you was do public. She came in a relationship when you was doing private. So now we not downsizing. We downsizing. I need to find somebody else that's gonna do. See, all those things play in a man's mind. That's why I say stop degrading your men. You know, start building your guy up. Get him some help. Y'all both go get the help. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that way you don't end up with this here, for this to be the end story. Because it's easy to be the end story. It's easy. It's easy. Yeah. It's easy for the devil to see. That's why the devil wants you by yourself. Because when he isolates you by yourself, see, you got no go-to. I said, what's your coping mechanism on the radio Sunday? What's your coping mechanism when the devil get to beating you up? What's your go-to? See, we just had a buddy that just committed suicide. They just had a service this past week. What's your go-to? What's your coping mechanism? And then what me and Jimmy talked about on the radio Sunday, our go-to was to do what my family did. Don't talk about it. See, it's time out for not talking about it. Because Sean ain't saying it. Sean ain't saying it. Bishop Wright them to help me understand because they introduced me to the Bible. And the Bible says we overcome by our testimony. That means every time I tell it, I heal a little bit more. That's it. And I help somebody along the way. Every time I tell it.
That's good. Every round go higher and higher.
Go higher and higher, man. So I start
to I laid my burdens down.
But when you hold it in,
yes, sir. Yeah.
High blood pressure, suicide, heart attack, stroke, depression. Diabetes, depression, alcoholism, crack addiction, heroin addiction. Because you're afraid to talk to somebody because it make you inferior. Nobody wants to be talked about. Who wants to be talked about? Who want to be the laughing stock? A lot of people get up and leave up by the champagne after something like that happens.
Well, in the olden days when the young girl have a baby, they're moving to Mississippi.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of let that be the living example. Let that be the picture. Y'all just wrap your arms around her. Don't make her feel so bad.
If it was a
build
child,
her up.
If it was a child with a disability, they'd keep her in the basement.
That's crazy. Him in the basement. See, and that's the way we did our people. And that's the reason why I said, for generations and generations, because this financial trauma, this emotional trauma, this family trauma that we got going on, it ain't just start. So what you see these young folks, a tree is known by its fruit. And some of these trees got roots that's deep.
That's deep. And you got to get to the root.
So you just keep on cutting off branches on the root. Somebody got gunned down, that was just a branch off the root.
Changing the chefs over and over, but the oven broke.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. And so now we're starting to address this stuff. Because now we got social media, we got this podcast, we got a lot of more outlets, and then you feel freer, to say stuff, and that's why we talk about ownership so much. Right. Because when you got to do Mother May I, it's hard to speak your mind. Yeah. See, if I got to go somewhere to lay down, I got to go over there and let somebody don't agree with what I'm saying, and I got to go ask them for something, or I got to go ask to stay in their home. Well, these the rules over here.
The gospel according to John Lee Johnson.
These the rules over here.
If a man pay you,
he's somewhat on you. And I didn't revise that because I didn't really see what John Lee told me at the American Legion that night.
Because in the 80s or 90s?
That was in the 90s. That was in the late 90s. Probably early 2000s when John Lee told me that before he passed away over a shot of Crown Royal. See, that's why I don't discount nobody. I was down there hanging out and the man told me, Sean, let me holler at you. I said, hey, what's going on, John? He said, let me tell you something, man. Don't you never forget, if a man pay you, he's somewhat on you. See, and that's when we was all bucket for trying to do this, trying to do that in the community, trying to do that. But he had more experience than me, more skin in the game than me. He seen more than me. So why I can't sit down and get some fat on my head? Even though we disagreed sometimes to disagree. But it still was love because he understood that his time was almost over and my time was coming.
It ain't what you leave for your kids, it's what you leave in them.
Yeah, man. And we trying to, and I just talked to some young folks. I just talked to some of the people that's around. I just talked to them, and we trying to dress our kids out with $1,000 outfit, and they can't spell centennial. Going to the school and can't spell the centennial. getting the worst grades, and we we using every credit card, going into a recession to make sure that we got gifts everywhere, and you don't even qualify for the gift. You going into debt for the rest of the year.
And can't spell centennial.
That's crazy. You got to show me something. You got to prove something. Make them prove something. I used to tell them girls when they come down there, get them kids them haircuts and do his lining like this and do the design like that and hit it like that. I said, baby, worry about more what's in his head than what's on his head.
Yeah.
So you gave me way too many instructions.
Yeah.
He 4 years old.
Yeah.
It's still something in his brain.
Right.
Because if you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
See, and that's the reason I don't want to be malicious or anything when I'm out and I'm speaking about leadership and pastors and this and that and this and that. But I want you to come to the table so that you can get information, so that we can regurgitate that to the congregation.
Kevin God said they can't spell centennial, but they steady graduating. They steady pushing to the next
because it's the No Child Left Behind. And it's stuff that we got to stand up for. See, we keep on falling for the same old okie doke, and we don't participate in the meeting. We missed the meeting because we over here doing the other meetings that ain't going to get us the results of what the real meeting going to get us. See, that's the problem. We're not in Washington, D.C. See, the Roe versus Wade overturned. Them folks raised a kid that was going to be a Supreme Court justice from the 60s. And they pushed him. They were strategic in pushing her to the finest schools. So when she got in front of the committee that judge you about can you be a Supreme Court justice, she answered all the questions and said, no. She said, no, I'm not going to do that. Got to be the Supreme Court justice. And they all turned coat and said Roe versus Wade out of there. So now we trying to scramble.
What you call that? The underlay for the
overplay for the underlay. The overplay for the underlay. Hood 101.
Right.
The okie doke.
Right.
Because they strategic. We the only ones running around here like crash dummies. See what I'm saying? We just let them strap us down and hold on and start doing like this here as a car falls apart. Because we ain't in charge. We ain't in charge of nothing. And so all this celebrating 100 year, 150 year, this and that and this and that. I'm saying for what? We lose it. And if this is the generation of kids we got to pass the torch to, we smoke. Because when you compare us to other races, I was just talking to a guy, man, from another country, African. He said, when we look at the African Americans, they're no competition. So they come on a fast track right on around us. And they find value in what we don't find value in. See? And that's the problem. And we talking about, well, if we don't get it on this life, then we'll get it in the next life.
Pie in the sky.
We got to start preparing our folks for right now. Building up right now.
Yeah. I'm listening to everything you say, and all I can think about the whole conversation is Boo Boo and Bam Bam.
Look at them babies.
And it's all almost choked me up, and I just man, it's just a blessing. It's like a new lease on life. God allowed me to have a 3 and a 4-year-old. Bam Bam at the gym, just hugging everybody. He don't even want to shake hands. He want to hug.
He want to hug.
He ain't seeing color or nothing.
Yeah.
And man, I'm like, I'm building leaders. I'm building leaders to be able to bring people together.
Yeah.
We're gonna be sharp. We're gonna play ball. We're gonna do gymnastics. We're gonna have telescopes and all that. But the main thing I want them to get is to bring unity together.
Yeah.
And be great leaders, man. And so the way that the youth are going now, we have to be able to work on developing some pictures of children who are going to turn this thing around. And that's why even my LDA, oh man, some of the parents showed up and they saying how the kids enjoy it. You got to be strategic. You have to beat the street. When you look at what's going on right now, If you want this change, and this has nothing to do with color, this world is going to hell in a handbasket across the board. And so I don't believe God gonna allow that to happen. But we gotta do stuff on purpose. We gotta be intentional on turning this thing around because it's in bad shape. And everybody is hurt. Everybody, it ain't too many people that ain't going through nothing. And even if they ain't going through nothing, somebody they're attached to is. And it's going and on the way to church Sunday, the Lord whisper it's gonna get worse because Satan is after your mind. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So everything that's happening now is right in line with what he wants to do.
I mean, and he's on his job 24/7, man. And I told somebody, man, the devil give it to you just the way you like it. He don't come with nothing that you don't like. He fixed up the way you like it. He know your he know what you like. He know your flavor. He know your color. You know, he know your size.
My head coach, I probably get 5 or 10 text messages, about 5 or 10 a week, emails. He always scouting. He always look at his TV. He always looking for this new play. Always looking for this, looking for that. Always scouting. And while I was writing my message, the Lord spoke to me and said, "That's how the devil is. He's got somebody assigned to every one of us. What you just said. He know what you like. He's studying your patterns. He knows your behavior. And he's just waiting for you not to have on that whole armor."
See, and that's why it's so essential, Hub, that we have other areas and where people at, where you can meet with like-minded folk, right? Iron sharpening iron. When we get back in this room in here, and we it's tight, it's small in there. But when we get in that room, we get on that monitor, and we grooving in our whole zone. We're trying to learn about global economics and all of those different things, and moving averages and all of these different things. And we talking about the news that's happening in Japan and Tokyo and all of these different places. You know, knowing what's going on in Canada, how it's going to affect the economy here in the United States. So now we don't got to go to the grocery store and wonder why chicken is $25, you know, for 6 wings. You know what I'm saying? We already seen it happening. We already seen it was a global crisis going on. And so a lot of times, I mean, you know, because a lot of us don't like, we was in the military, current affairs was part of what we had to do.
You had to know. You had to know current affairs.
You had to know current affairs.
You weren't going to pass that board without it.
But see, what's happening right now is that when you look at the system and the way the policies and the procedures are made within the school districts, now going on what Kevin Cobb said, is they've had so many different issues. Plus, we've had so many people that fought about the kids being held back in grades, that now they come up with a policy to say no child left behind. Now they pushing our kids ahead, and they should be left behind. You see what I'm saying? So now, right now, with the amount of disobedience and behavior issues that's going on, they just want a warm body in a seat. They don't care if you take 4 of your Ritalin pills. They take all 4 of them. Go down to the nurse, take all 4 of them.
Well, that's how the physician get paid. See, everybody get paid on the dysfunction of the student. Student come to school, the state pay them, right? If he on Ritalin and all that, the parents get a little bit of money, and the medical, everybody get paid off the kid.
Man, I've been said it, man. Everybody get paid off.
But I want to go back to what you said about when you guys in class. People think, what came to me is, people think knowledge is power. Knowledge ain't nothing if you don't share it. Shared knowledge is where the power comes in, because the brains are where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name on the same accord. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. That's where the power is, when it's shared. And you can learn, and I can learn, and they can learn.
You know how powerful it was for us to be able to work
real quick
with Titus.
Real quick. Her name was Stephanie Stewart Cockrell. Shout out to her. Also, Katrina Kendall said we need a collaboration meeting in January to get on the same page and get a community college started again.
We need that. We need that, Katrina. We need that because what's the name that passed away? She used to be doing that. She was faithful. From the Legion. I can't think of her name, but I mean, yeah, and she used to do it all the time. She would call me and ask me about events and things of that nature. And see, that's what happened when soldiers fall. You know what I'm saying? And nobody passes the torch.
There's no success without a successor.
So now we don't got anybody that could do that.
Right.
Her name just came to the top of my head, man. And so, yeah, and so we need somebody to pick that torch up. But one of the things that happened to us back in this room, once we start developing and everybody trying to learn and this and that, Titus, young man, he in high school, he going to uni high. He taking full classes, but he's still doing his research. He's still doing his stuff. And he coming in telling us stuff that he's learned. Hey man, I learned how to maneuver around on it like this here. We can move around on TD Ameritrade like this. Do this here, do that. See, that's how it happens when you bring everybody on the team together. They start finding out their areas of gifting. And then they start working in their area of gifting, and everybody learns that way.
I think Titus had been coming about 3 months when we first started. And I said, Titus, you got to learn this stuff. Because when Hunt blow up, you going to teach. And he looked at me. I said, I'm serious. And so when you posted that he was teaching, you just got to tell him. You got to speak it into him. You got to.
So I had a mother that texted me and said, Sean, my son, he want to play football. You know, he don't want to. And he came the first week, and then she said he wanted to change it up. He wanted to play football. Blah 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 blah. You know, and my thing for it was, you know, I know that our kids want to be able to do some of the things that they want to do, but it's a reason to the parent. You know, it's so hard for our kid to be able to make it to the NFL. And if you not getting no tick, I just told my kids at Centennial when I went there Thursday, and a lot of basketball players from Centennial basketball team was there. And, you know, everybody think they the next jock that's going to be able to be in and get picked up and those things. And I ain't trying to diminish nobody's hopes and dream hopes and all that stuff. But you got to be able to do something else too. And I would say this here. If you ain't, I said, man, did you know that Kobe Bryant was up and by 3 o'clock in the morning, he did 5,000 jump shots before 3 o'clock in the morning? When my buddy, Darren Williams, Luther Head, Brian Cook, and D Brown would come down to my barbershop, I remember vividly. I said, man, y'all going to the fraternity step party that's going on campus tonight? And they was getting cuts. And I'm like, and Darren spoke up for him. Darren said, man, we got plenty of time to go to a party. We going to the oven because we trying to go to the league. See, and everybody that I talked to got an opportunity to get introduced to the league because they was putting in the work. See, we want something and don't want to put no work in. You got to put the work in. See, we so far behind the 8 ball on financial literacy. So when we go get talked to crazy going to get a simple car, I just told my buddy the other day when he was talking to me about a car and he went to the dealership. I said, no, bro, you need to go call the credit union. Holler at them. Because what they saying is that they telling you need more credit than all. I said, but your credit good. I said, what it was is you ain't got no down payment. So now the finance guy can't get a piece. The sales guy can't get a piece. They telling you go get your money up so we can get our cut. Cut both of them out. Matter of fact, cut both of them out. And matter of fact, cut them all out. Leave them alone. Go to the credit union. Apply for tell them what you're trying to do, and then go to Carfax and find you something with low mileage around across the country. Do something different.
Sharing knowledge is powerful.
Because you gotta have the knowledge. Now you can go down there and tell them something different. I remember years ago, man, this came to me, man, it's gonna help somebody. I remember years ago, man, I went to go get a car. Me and Toby Cooper, we ride over on Cunningham. And so I went to go get the car, and I pull up. I talked to the guy. He take me in a little cubicle back there. There was an old dealership. It used to be over there. He looked at my paper. Said, "Man, Man, look at your credit score, man. You ain't, man, da 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 da. Turn me straight down. Mr. Purtle. Holler at Mr. Purtle. We go down to Warden Martin. Big shouts out to Mr. Weber, Wayne Weber, then on Warden Martin. You know, thanks for the relationship. Mr. Page, you know what I'm saying? Because I went down there and they got me in my first big vehicle, and it was because of J.W. Purtle and the cosigner. I'm keeping 100. Cosign, I got to give him his credit, what credit is due. Man, and then Mr. Purtle had forgot he even did it because he had tried to do it for his own people and didn't even forgot he had did it for me. You know what I'm saying? Because we took care of our business. Yeah. But I took that car back over to dude. He said that because he embarrassed me. When he pulled out, he embarrassed me. He wanted to embarrass me in front of all his customers. So I took it back over there to him.
After you bought it.
After I bought it. I said, hey man, I'm that guy you talked to about a month ago. And you kind of embarrassed me in front of my friend and all your customers over here. I said, look at my nice car there. He ain't had nothing on his lot that even looked that good. I said, look at my nice car out there now. I said, I want to tell you for future reference, don't talk to people like that, man. If you can't help them, man, you know, don't hurt them. You know, let them down lightly. You know what I'm saying? Or tell them what they need to do. See, and it was a good learning experience for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to front and stun on nobody, man. I used to tell my guys that was balling in the streets, man, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that because you got a little bit more favor and grace and mercy. Because that's all it is. Favor, grace, and mercy, and somebody on their knees praying for you. It's the reason why you ain't saying it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer.
We got to recognize that we owe. Across the board. We owe these kids better. You know, we've dropped the ball, and we got to understand that, man, let me tell you something. All I want the Lord to do is say, well done.
Thy good and faithful servant.
That's all
you did the best that you can do on this here. With the hands you was dealt. Yeah. See, so many of us, we get mad at the hand we was dealt. But man, hey, look, man, hey, I'm gonna take this hand I was dealt. I just told you where the brokenness I started from. Right. I started this program telling you with a brokenness. Yeah. I could have threw the towel in now and say I got a mental issue. Let me get Social Security disability check. I got a mental issue. I've been traumatized.
When you think about all the young kids under 18 that done died over the last 3 years, just connect them with all their friends.
Man, I didn't dealt with kids that done buried, that I didn't buried, and I didn't seen the same friends at least 5-6 times in a row.
Even the kids
that have not got no mental assistance.
Here's what blows me, man. So I fought in 2 wars, and I saw a whole lot in Iraq. Not too much in Desert Storm, but Iraq, the morgue and all that there was levels to it. And I know God. I'm plugged, and I still have to stay locked in that my mind don't wander. Now you got 13, 14, 15-year-olds out here that don't know God, don't know nothing about God.
Ain't got no military
parenting
experience,
is at
no
an all-time level low, man. What chance do they have? Now I'm trying to stay locked in at 58.
They 15. Come on, man. I heard, man, you can't help but to be out here dirtball bad because you don't know no better. Everything is dysfunction since you've been on earth. Everything that you think that's normal is abnormal since you've been on earth.
Before I close my eyes, the vision that God has given me is to have a one-stop shop, safe haven. And I get to handpick my staff from the top to the bottom. And the number one thing that we gonna grade on is if your motives are pure. Before I close my eyes.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you what assists you already in the approval if your motives are pure. If you got your own. Cause now I ain't gotta put my hand in the cookie jar. Cause I got my own.
You know, I one of the things that I'm able to do is save. I'm able to save because it's not my profession. So I'm able to save. And I got my eye on some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I got my eye on some stuff. I ain't gonna talk too much, but it ain't gonna take long.
What they do? What they do when we talk too much?
Oh yeah, they gonna copy.
They gonna take everything.
But they can't defend it.
You know what? And then
You can't defend
and even when they do, you know, you helped me develop this.
Mm-hmm.
That's leadership.
It's leadership.
And then when it fall apart,
yeah.
You know, I used to have guys used to go get the building. I was throwing a party, and they go. I build a relationship up with the people. They come behind me, and the folks give it to them because they thirsty, and so they do it. And next thing you know, they tow the people place up and all this other type of stuff. But it fall apart.
Consistency.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the one that they respected on that level, not them. People, you know what I'm saying? They didn't even like them people. That's the reason why they tore it up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. And so so that's what it is, man. It is funny how time flies when you're having fun, man.
It's already been on.
Man, we've been on the radio and this television program for 1 hour and 5 minutes, man.
That's crazy.
And so, man,
That's
crazy.
Look,
man, we got to do this again.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to you
Shout
guys
out
there, man.
Bookie love when we on here.
Yeah.
Bookie. I tell you what, I'm gonna say this, and it might not be on him right now, but I meet Bookie every now and then at McDonald's.
Okay.
And one guy's turning 101 next week, but most of the guys are 70, 80.
Yeah.
And I don't talk too much.
Yeah.
Everybody say, "Oh, he talk." Not when I'm there.
Get fat on your head,
man. What you talking about? So shout out to Bookie and the guys at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Got a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, man. Big shouts to everybody that's been listening to us over the years, watching us over the years, man. I thank you guys. I don't take it lightly that you guys listen to us. That's why I try to refresh and get some new programs going on. I want to do this here before Christmas because I knew we're gonna be locked in. It's a soul storm that's coming in. I want you guys to be careful out there, man.
Somebody.
Yeah, man. Love on somebody.
Suicide.
Yeah, man. Love on somebody. Call somebody. Yeah. Call a friend that you ain't talked to in a while. Call family you ain't talked to in a while. Love on each other, man. You know, Happy New Year to you. Going to this 2023 season. All those leaders out there, organizations out there, hey, man, we need to be at the table, man. Going into 2023, we need to be at the table, man, because our people desperately need us. So, Hub, I thank the Lord for you, man. Appreciate it, man. Merry Christmas to you and your family, man. And thank you for watching another episode of Let the Truth Be Told.
Peace.
Peace, peace, peace.